Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 7th of July and welcome to the Hindus live discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire newspaper, okay, along with the background as well as the way forwards. The issues will be taken as per the relevancy in the CSE UPSC examination. Now guys, first of all, we'll take the overview and I would like to remind you again that the explainer PDF that I will be using in the video later words, that PDF is available on the Telegram channel. You can join the Telegram channel. The link is also given in the description about the Telegram channel. Now here we have the page number 1 and the first is SpiceJet gets a DGCA's notice for the safety lapses. Okay, so Directorate General of Civil Aviation has given certain notices. It has been said that the SpiceJet is ignoring its safety, the vendors are not being paid off, the spare parts availability is not there. However guys, with respect to the policy aspect, the issues are not here in this particular article, so no need to go in this article. Then after that, basically the political issues, regional issues, fine, etc has been just talked about, nothing to see here in this particular thing. Then further moving on, after that on the city section also, okay, the regional issues and the law and order related issues have been provided. Then advertisements, okay, all these things are provided, you no need to see this thing. So guys, actually we will be reaching to the editorial page, and from editorial page only there will be certain relevant articles that will be coming. Now on the editorial page, the first article talks about the words from Bandung to relive in Bali and Delhi. So guys, this article talks about the changing priorities into the India's foreign policy. So with respect to that particular thing, we'll see this particular article. Then further moving on, after that, a no to pharma free by freebies, a yes for public good. So guys, this particular article is talking about that how medical representatives are coming to the doctors, they are giving them free samples, okay, and all such kind of issues have been provided. With respect to UPSC exam, substance is not there in this particular article, no need to read much, relevance is not there. Then hate crime punishment, okay, so guys, basically this is an article which is a kind of a repetition coming from so many of the days, basically talking about that how the Nupur Sharma's remarks had led to the polarization, how this hate speech is to be controlled, okay. So basically the BJP, okay, the Nupur Sharma, okay, and all these things have been discussed. Again, with respect to exam, much important substance is not there in this particular article. Already the academic articles that are relevant we have taken multiple number of times in our analysis. Then after that, change equation, so England is reshaping the test cricket, okay, so again not relevant for our exam. Then guys, further moving on, taking stock of 5 years of GST. So basically the GST's journey into these 5 years are being discussed. We'll see this particular article because the 5-year anniversary is there. Moreover, in the past also the GST articles have been taken up. India EU global dynamics, so it talks about the European unions CBAM. Okay, so we'll discuss what this is all about. Fine. Then guys, further moving on, we have the text and the context page. In the text and the context page, the new rules to keep advertisement in check, so CCPA's rules have been discussed. We'll see this particular article. Then understanding the all-time high in that India's trade deficit. So guys, first of all, yesterday, that is on to the 6th of July, already we have taken one particular article where we have seen that the FPIs are leaving the country, okay. We have seen that the imports, FPIs are leaving the country, the imports have increased, and all these particular thing is leading to the problem of the trade deficit. What is the trade deficit? When basically what you are importing and what you are exporting, there is a mismatch in that. So when you are import more and your exports are less, obviously you need to pay more in the terms of import, there will be a deficit that will come. Okay, so basically it is talking about the numbers, that okay, how much percentage of trade deficit has increased, what is its all these particular numbers, etc have been discussed. Now guys, again, you no need to go in this particular article. Why? Because these datas will not be relevant by the time you'll write your exam. This thing will completely be getting changed. Moreover, yesterday's article where we have discussed the exit of FPI, there in conceptual way we have discussed all these issues, so if you want you can see that. Then moving on, Verstehen. So this is a keyword that has been mentioned. So we'll see this keyword with respect to the GS paper number 4 as well as society. Then further, on the page number 10, we have the issues such as the basically the militant surrendered, then the political news are there, okay, BK Slam centers farm policies, okay. So Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, Samyukt Kisan Morcha, what they are saying, these political issues are there. Fine, nothing is relevant. Please, guys, don't waste your even a single minute on this page, as well as on page number 11 also. Fine, basically ministers Mukhtar Naqvi RCP quits. Fine, all these things have been provided. Fine, nothing at all important. Please skip this particular page. Then further moving on, COVID precaution doses can be had 6 months after the second jab. Again, the evolutionary detail with respect to the COVID-19 has been talked about. Toronto Museum story over the poster. A controversy got developed recently. Fine. MSP should continue till markets become efficient. So one of the Niti Aayog member made this particular remark that MSP should continue, but not as a permanent thing. It should continue only till the time that the markets are efficient. If the markets are not able to compensate the farmer, only till then the MSP should continue. Now this particular thing has irritated the Sanyukt Kisan Morcha members. They say that we will be coming on to the protest, and all these, actually the political inclination is again there in this particular article. Fine. Then moving on the world page. Fine, British PM Johnson was to keep going. Fine, Gotabaya turns to Russia for the Sri Lanka for the fuel supplies. Fine, these many people have been killed into the Donetsk as the Russia Ukraine war is going on. What I want to say, guys, see, nothing is important again in this particular page. Okay, so every time I say that you need to be very selective. I meet so many of the students, they say that it's taking around 3 hours, 4 hours to read the newspaper. Why? Because you have to be selective. If that selection will not be there, these issues are going to come. Then RBI eases rules to boost forex inflows. So this particular article we're going to see, because now we see that there are a lot of inflows that there are there. Forex reserves of India are going down, so certain measures have been taken. So this is a policy issue. We'll see this thing. Then IRD, okay, tech based add-ons. Fine. Okay, all these particular then corporate issues, corporate trends have been discussed. Now we have the sports page. So this is, guys, the overview of the entire newspaper, and I hope that you understood that what are the selective articles that you have to see. Now let's discuss all these relevant articles in the entire newspaper one by one in detail. Now starting up, so as we start our every class, so we'll be starting our today's class with the GS quote. So today's quote we have taken from the Albert Einstein. So Albert Einstein says that if people are good only because they fear punishment and hope for reward, then we are a sorry lot indeed. So it says that, see, people's goodness, if it is dependent on some kind of a reward and on the avoidance of some kind of a punishment, then we see this particular thing that your actions have an element of moral desert. What is moral desert? Moral desert is a reward. Okay, now this particular kind of actions will not be the nishkam karma which have been discussed into the Indian philosophy. And as the Indian philosophy says that the nishkam karmas are the perfect karmas, and any karma which has an element of rag, dvesh and moh. Rag means attachment, dvesh means hatredness, and moh means delusion. So if any actions will have rag, dvesh and moh, those actions will be undesirable actions. Similar thing has been said by the Albert Einstein also. He says that if your actions are motivated by reward or deterred by the punishment, then those actions are not desirable. We are in a sorry state of affairs. So guys, this particular connection you can use in your GS paper number 4 ethics. GS paper number 4 ethics. Now moving on. So first article we have taken from the text and the context, and it talks about this particular keyword, that is the Verstehen. Now this particular keyword can have a lot of utility in our GS paper number 4 ethics, and particularly into the ethics in the chapter of emotional intelligence. Now let's see this particular keyword and let's then try to connect that how it can be important for GS4. So guys, first of all, when we talk about this concept of Verstehen, it simply means, it is a German word which translates to understanding, and this particular concept was given by the Max Weber. Max Weber, a prominent sociologist, also has been referred to the father of sociology sometimes. Okay, you might have read about the Max Weber's contribution even into the public administration. So Max Weber propounded this particular word. Now what Max Weber says that while you are investigating a person's action, while you are making the sense of a person's action, you need to place yourself in the position of that particular individual, and action is to be observed to comprehend the meanings. Okay, a person's actions should be seen as what actually motivated that particular person to do that particular thing. Fine. It has been said that human actions cannot just be judged on absolute objectivity. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Basically, you might have seen this particular news few days back that a person killed one of their parent. Why? Because the parent was stopping them to play the PUBG game. So basically a person, a child killing their parents. Why? Because they were stopping them to play the PUBG game. Now see, there might have been some kind of escalation that would have happened before this incident happened. Escalation could have been something like this, that first of all the parent might have reprimanded their kid. The parent might have scolded their kid, and they might have scolded them very vigorously. This could have happened. Now this particular child saw the parent that he is reprimanding, he is scolding, his voice was loud. This was the only thing that was noted, and the child reacted, he killed the parent. Now basically this parent's action should not just be seen that okay, he is scolding. Rather, you need to see the action from the point of view of that father or the mother. Okay, you need to see the actually there is a care behind that particular thing, there is a concern behind that particular thing. Is it clear? There is the well-being of this person which is behind even that particular harsh treatment. So Verstehen provides that you need to understand any action from the point of view of the person that is doing that particular action. Now this is a thing that we usually forget, and because of that particular thing there are the social conflicts that are there in the society. It is being said that when a person is performing an action, obviously he is being on the verge of many of the emotions. We forget that, and in just an objective manner we try to understand a person's behavior. It has been said that you can take one example, for example the body gestures. Okay, in many cultures the body gestures, they have the different meanings. Okay, clapping, hugging, kissing, they have different meanings into the different cultures. So just objectively you cannot see those symbols, you need to understand the cultural as well as the emotional as well as other factors behind one particular action. Further, the Max Weber has provided that when we talk about any social action, there could be four types of social actions that are there. Now this is something which is important for the students who have the sociology optional even more. First, he says that there are the traditional social action. Now what is the traditional social actions? These are those actions which are controlled by the socio-cultural norms in the society. For example, it is said in an Indian society that a person should behave like this and should not behave like this. So while your behavior will be there, you will keep in mind that okay, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. So your actions which are controlled by the socio-cultural norms, they are the traditional social actions. Then the second is the affective social actions. Now what are the affective social actions? These are those actions where this is an action which is being determined by one's emotional state, and other person doesn't even bothers what the society is going to think. So let's say some person is very sad, okay, and he starts crying in the public place. He's not concerned that the people what they are trying to think, but he is just behaving on the basis of the emotions that he's experiencing. Then the third is the value rational social actions. Value rational social actions. So the value rational social actions are the ones which are determined by the conscious belief in the inherent value of a type of behavior. Is it clear? So certain behaviors are there which we value that they are to be done irrespective of outcome. So these are the value rational actions. And then there are the instrumental rational social action. What are they? They are done to achieve a particular goal. Okay, I am doing one particular action. Why? Because I want to achieve a particular result, particular goal. So these are the types of action. Now it is not the case that only one type of action will be there. Okay, any action could have those 2-3 forces also behind that. So this is guys a good article, and with respect to the Indian society also we got the content here. Now moving on to the next article, the new rules to keep the advertisements in the check. Okay, now where this particular article is going to be important, it is going to be important in GS paper number 4, the into the attitude unit. Fine, which is the unit number 2. Within the attitude we have one particular topic, that is the social influence. So within the social influence, the advertisements etc they come. So there this particular article is going to be important. Along with that, even in GS paper number 2 also, this particular article could be utilized. So this is the utility of this particular article, and now let's discuss that what this article is talking about. So guys, first of all, recently what has happened, and towards the end I will also tell the connection with GS4 also. Fine. Now what has happened, the Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, it has issued the guidelines to prevent the advertisements. Which type of advertisements? Misleading advertisements. Now what are the misleading advertisements? So misleading advertisements are those advertisements which are not telling the right content. Okay, so basically there are three types of advertisements that have to be controlled by these particular guidelines. Number one is misleading. What is misleading? Which is giving some kind of a wrong information, okay, which is not telling you the complete facts. Okay, for example, a particular product is being advertised by saying that if you consume this particular supplement, your brain will become sharper. Now there is no fact behind that particular thing, no credible data to support that particular thing. Then there are the bait advertisements. What are the bait advertisements? Bait advertisements are to attract the customers, to increase the footfall. For example, many times onto the Facebook you come across an ad where it is said that 80% off is going on. You click that particular link, you reach a particular website selling the products, and you find that actually whatever is on to the 80% discount, it is out of stock. It is out of stock. Fine. And now there are other items which are at MRP. Okay, and you are being shown you are being shown the different features, or sometimes you go. Fine. So this is the bait advertising that is there. Fine. And then there is a surrogate advertising. Now what is the surrogate advertising? Guys, surrogate advertising is actually an advertising for some other product for which you cannot directly advertise. For example, we have the Kotpa Act. Okay, we have the Kotpa Act. Okay, now basically under the Kotpa Act, the tobacco products cannot be advertised. Cigarettes cannot be advertised. Gutkhas cannot be advertised. Okay, so fine. Now what the advertisers are doing? Advertisers, what they are doing? Fine, they are advertising this Zuba Kesari, Pan Bahar. Now they are not being advertised as the gutkhas and the tobaccos. They are being advertised as elaichi, as mouth fresheners and all these kind of things. So everybody knows that what this Vimal is, what this Vimal is, and all these kind of Rajnigandha, what these things are. But they are advertising them as elaichis or mouth fresheners, etc. So this is a surrogate ad. So surrogate ad is an ad for some other product for which direct ad could not be there. Okay, so this is the advertisements. Now guys, and then there are the advertisements which are the children targeted advertisements. Now what are the children targeted advertisements? Specifically designed to attract the children. Guys, understand this particular thing, that basically children's targeted toward advertisement, it is a very clever kind of a strategy, because there are certain issues that are there. Number one, see, it is believed that you need to shape the perception, you need to shape the belief of a child at the young age, because at this particular time it is easy to do that particular thing. See guys, today in India there is a absurd fascination, and people think that the fair skin tone is the most desirable skin tone. Clear? Now from where this particular belief is coming? This belief is coming from our childhood. Okay, and whatever I may tell you, fine, you will never be going to abandon this particular belief. Fine, because from childhood, fine, this particular belief actually came to us. Now the advertisers also know this particular thing, that if we inculcate certain beliefs into the children at their childhood, these beliefs will be carried throughout their life. Moreover, if a child is influenced, fine, now guys, a child, it has a lot of potent that it can influence the buying behavior of their parents also. Okay, so many times childs are being targeted. Okay, so this is something that the child targeting advertisement should not be there. Moreover guys, it has also been said that, see, an advertisement will be non-misleading, an advertisement will be correct advertisement if it is containing the true and the honest representation of the goods and the services. It is not exaggerating any accuracy. Sometimes it has been said that there could be some lapse there which could be there, but the lapse will be considered as an innocent lapse if some kind of a wrong fact was given, but the advertiser came out and clarified that it was a wrong fact. If the deficiency has been removed, then the lapse will be called as a innocent lapse. So this is something that has happened. Moreover, guys, there is one more issue also which is not mentioned in this particular article. So basically it has been provided that actually the advertisers, the endorsers, even the actors who will be into the advertisements, they also need to carry the due diligence. What is the due diligence? They need to make sure that the advertisements are correct. And if they fail to do the due diligence, even the endorsers, even the celebrities, they can be fined. It has been provided there could be the penalty of 10 lakh rupees, and secondly, they could be banned for 1 year for the further endorsement. So this is also there. Now coming back, so basically, guys, we have already discussed the child targeted advertisements as how they are doing. Moreover, the advertisements which want to take advantage of their inexperience, want to create a sense of loyalty in the children. Okay, such kind of things will not be allowed. Now, guys, it has been provided that any advertisement which state any health or nutritional claims or benefit without coming out with a scientific explanation, without coming out with the studies, okay, or any act which might have an adverse effect onto the physical and mental health of the children, these acts are completely banned, they are prohibited. Fine. Moreover, the next thing is that, guys, it has been provided that the advertisements of chips, carbonated drinks, they cannot be done onto the channels which are specifically meant for the children, for example the cartoon channels. Okay, but this particular thing, it has been seen that whether this particular thing can go or it will be challenged to the Supreme Court, because there is one constitutional dimension that will also come here. See, Article 14 talks about the right to equality, and Article 19 subclause 1 subclause G talks about the right to trade. Okay, right to trade, right to occupation. So basically, when now the problem that will come here is that, first of all, the cartoon TV channels, what is the source of revenue for them? The source of revenue for them is the advertisement. Okay, and the children, they are a very big consumers of the carbonated drinks and the chips. So if these advertisements cannot come onto these cartoon TV networks, their right to trade, their right to occupation will get impacted. Okay, it is also against the right to equality. So this is something that is coming in this particular dimension. Now, guys, let's make the connection. Fine, I told you that it will be important in GS paper number 4 under the attitude. Within the attitude, social influence. So social influence, guys, is any phenomena which tries to impact, which tries to change your beliefs, your behaviors, your attitude. That any such kind of phenomena is social influence, and the advertisements today are a big source of social influence. Okay, so therefore there we can bring this particular attachment. So that is all, guys, about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. RBI eases rules to boost the forex inflows, foreign exchange inflows. So, guys, we have seen already yesterday and even before that the foreign portfolio investments in India are going out. I told you that what happened when the 2020 pandemic got started. At that point of a time in the USA, the interest rate came very much down, and after the first half of the 2020, the foreign investors, they started to come in the India and other developing countries, because the interest rates here are relatively higher than that. So a lot of investment into the Indian stock market, into the Indian debts, into the Indian mutual fund had happened. Now the USA has again increased their interest rates, and now therefore these investments which earlier came in India, now they are flowing back to the USA. Moreover, there are other reasons also that why the FBI is exiting. So that already we have discussed into the yesterday's newspaper. Okay. So now, because they are taking out their investment, obviously what is happening, they are converting their rupee in the dollar, because only the dollars they can take back. Now as they are doing that particular thing, what is happening, the foreign exchange reserves of India, they are declining. Okay, now in this particular direction, Reserve Bank of India had taken certain steps, and that we are going to discuss. So guys, with the terms of utility, this article will be important in GS paper number 3, issues related to the Indian economy. Now, what are the measures that have been taken by the RBI? So temporary measures are there. It means that they will not be continuing for eternity. For some time period, these measures have been brought. Number 1, doubling in the overseas borrowing limit for corporates. Now corporates can raise money from the international markets. Okay, so now the borrowing limit, it has been doubled. Fine, why? Because suppose there is a corporate by the name of Reliance. Reliance needs certain money. Let's say Reliance is borrowing the money from the USA. Obviously, when the Reliance will borrow the money from some of a agency of US, that particular money will come into the forms of the dollar. Okay. Now what a Reliance will do, if Reliance has to carry expansion in India, obviously in India, what currency we use? We use rupee. So what Reliance will do? Reliance will give this dollar to the Reserve Bank of India and will take rupee. And when this dollar will go into the Reserve Bank of India, obviously our foreign exchange reserve will increase. So the borrowing limits for the corporates have been doubled. Removal of interest rate ceiling on NRI's foreign currency deposits. Okay, so guys, basically we have the foreign currency deposit accounts. Okay, foreign currency accounts which are opened for the NRI citizen. Now, what are these foreign currency accounts? See, usually when you are depositing money in your account, it will be held in terms of rupee. But NRIs, they can open the foreign currency accounts, in that they can deposit money in terms of dollar and it will stay there into the terms of dollar. Now, as you deposit money into the bank gives some interest rate also. So guys, earlier there was the ceiling interest rate, that is the highest interest rate that could be given by a bank to the foreign currency foreign currency account. So there, if now these particular ceilings have been removed, why? So that the NRIs, the foreign currency that they are having, they open account in Indian banks and keep that particular currency into the banks. Okay, so for that particular thing, these interest ceilings limit have been also removed. Okay, then guys, after that, I told you why these particular thing is happening. The moves come as a persistent capital outflow and widening trade deficit has been here. Then guys, the next development that has happened is that, see, it has also been provided by the RBI that, see, there will be no incremental foreign currency accounts, as well as basically term deposits done by the non-resident Indians. What this particular point is, I'll explain you by the help of an example. Fine, see, we have CRR, cash reserve ratio, we have SLR, statutory liquid ratio. Cash reserve ratio is right now 4% and SLR is around 18%. By the way, these numbers you don't need to remember, not because in our UPSC exam they are not asked. Now guys, what are the CRR and SLR in a nutshell? Fine, the total, for example, the total deposits that have been received by the bank, on that particular deposit, certain money is to be reserved by the bank. This money bank cannot give as the loan to the other people. Let's say that the 100 rupees got deposited into the bank. So 4% of this particular 100 rupees, that is the 4 rupee, are to be kept as a CRR. Okay, this is a reserve that has to be maintained into the cash. And then the next is SLR. SLR is the statutory liquid ratio. It means again that the 18% of the deposit that has been there, so 18% of 100 rupees, 18 rupees, it is to be maintained also as a separate reserve into the bank, either into the form of government securities, or into the form of gold, or into the form of cash. Okay, so 18% SLR, 4% CRR, this particular money is to be reserved. Now guys, see, basically we are providing that onto the foreign currency accounts. Fine, there will be no interest ceiling. Let's say bank started to offer high interest rates on that. Obviously more NRIs will deposit money in these particular accounts. So what will happen? The deposit will go up. Now the incremental deposit, okay, let's say till yesterday the ICICI bank has a deposit of 5,000 crore rupees. Now because they have increased the interest, 1,000 crore rupees more came. So extra what came? 1,000 crore rupees, this is extra. So onto this incremental deposit, these CRR SLR norms will not apply. Clear? This is also one step that has been taken by the bank. Fine. So let's repeat, let's actually read what has been reported here. So as a part of measures, banks have been exempted from maintaining the stipulated CRR and SLR on incremental FCNR and NRE term deposit. Term deposit are the FDs. Okay. Moreover guys, further it has also been provided that, see, what I told you here, that the foreign portfolio investments, find the investors, they are going back to their own countries. Now in order to stop them, okay, in order to encourage the other FPIs, what has happened, the Reserve Bank have also provided that they can also invest into the government bonds, okay, basically it has been provided that even the new government securities, of 7-year maturity, 14-year maturity, they are openly available to the FPIs. Okay, so this is something that has happened in this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. Words from Bandung to relive in Bali and Delhi. Okay, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, India's foreign policy. India's foreign policy. Okay. Now, world from Bandung to relive in Bali and Bali and Delhi. So basically, guys, this article is saying that first of all, when we see right now, the foreign policies of the many countries are changing. For example, Sweden and Finland, they have never been the proponents of the NATO, but now they are joining the NATO. Okay, India's foreign policy also undergoing some shift. We'll see this particular thing. So first of all, this Ukraine war is shaping the world order. Recently, three back to back summits have happened. Fine, first of all, there was the BRICS summit that was hosted by China, attended virtually by the Prime Minister. Then the G7 summit was there, which was attended again by the Indian Prime Minister in person, okay, which was held into the Germany. And then there was the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization's summit, which has directly condemned the China. So three high profile back to back summits have happened. Now, guys, basically in these particular summits, first, for example, the BRICS that was hosted by the China. Here, this particular summit is very important. Why? Because this was the first summit that was attended by the Russian president after this Ukraine war started. Okay, and both the China as well as Russia, they have issued their statement against the unilateralism of the USA. They say that the USA is still acting as a hegemon. Then India was also present into this particular BRICS, but guys, India did not said anything against the Russia. Okay, India basically said that India did not directly condemn the Russia in this particular direction. The West was expecting this particular thing. Okay, right now, guys, you see that even with the China, India is still trying to cooperate even when the dispute on the LAC is going on. So India had cooperated in China under the BRICS, under the SCO, everywhere India is doing this particular thing. Next thing is that into the BRICS summit, the Beijing declaration or a consensus document was announced, which provided what are the national positions onto the Ukraine issue. Is it clear what China's position is? China openly supported Russia. What is Russia is? Obviously, Russia will support themselves. Now, what India's position was that India, see, played again a kind of a very balanced role here. Neither India directly supported Russia, but nor it condemned. Now, West is irritated that why you did not condemn the Russia. Now, Russia had promised that all the BRICS countries, they will be provided the oil, coal supplies, they will be provided. Okay, so this is something which is being seen that the India might have not condemned because of this, basically this advantage that we can reap out of the Russia right now. Then, guys, when we talk about the G7, it again targeted Russia's war into the Ukraine. Okay, and the G7, the countries, they also came out with the resilient democracy and the clean and just transitions towards from carbon neutrality document. Okay, now see, into the G7, there were a set of agreements condemning Russia. India did not sign, but there were certain documents which talks about the deepening of democracy. For example, resilient democracy document, India signed. Clean and just transition document, India signed. Okay, then, guys, further moving on, even into the NATO meeting, the Russian aggression was talked about. Now, as this Russian issue is going on, there is also new initiatives that are being launched by the West into the Indo-Pacific. For example, recently, the Indo-Pacific coalition, that is the Partners in the Blue Pacific, was organized. Under this initiative of Partners in the Blue Pacific, who are the members? USA is the member, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Japan is the member. Already we have seen that the AUKUS, Australia, UK, US, partnership was there. Okay, we have already seen this particular thing. Fine. Now, this article says that actually India must lead. Okay, article says this particular thing that, see, right now all the three summits have happened, and what is the result is the polarization which has further increased between the USA and between Russia, between the West and the Russia. The polarization has increased. Fine, again the boundaries are being created into the world as it happened before the World War I and World War II. Okay, now India has joined now China in terms of the basically India have joined the China because the China is the country which is whose dependence or whose interaction with the Russia has increased because of this particular war. Now China is consuming much more Russian oil, Russian coal. India has also become the part of that particular grouping, only that we actually are to be today dependent too much onto the Russia, and because of that we are not even taking the stands on some of the issues. Now, it has been said that guys, at the multilateral stage, find India remains a balancing voice. Okay, India needs to play the role of a mediator. Now, understand this particular thing, guys. That see, basically, what happened in 1955? In 1955, the Bandung Conference happened, or Asian African Conference happened in 1955, and out of this Bandung Conference of 1955, or the Asia African Conference, the non-aligned movement was born at that point of a time. And under the non-aligned movement, what was the India's role? India's role was that India will not favor any particular camp. Neither India will follow the USSR at that point of time, nor it will follow the USA. So non-alignment movement was born. Now India's foreign policy is again seeing a kind of a shift. What kind of a shift is coming? Now guys, again, now we are not non-aligned, but actually today there is one particular word that is used. India had adopted the strategic autonomy. Strategic autonomy. What is the meaning of this strategic autonomy? It means that India will take its sides on the basis of the situation. Wherever India will have the most of the benefit, India will take that particular side. There is no hard alliances of allegiance of India towards one particular country. So this is a new shift that India's foreign policy is going on. Okay. So this is, guys, all this which has been mentioned in this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Now we'll move to the next one. Taking stock of 5 years of GST. So guys, now the 5 years of GST has been done, and in this particular direction this article has came. Moreover guys, just a few days back on the last Saturday also I have taken one article on the GST. Why? Because the GST council's meet happened. Okay, so this is about the GST. Now guys, when we talk about the GST, it stands for the goods and the services tax, which has subsumed most of the indirect taxes at the level of state as well as a center. Certain taxes are there which are still not subsumed into the GST. For example, the basically the excise onto the petroleum and diesel is not subsumed into the GST. Then the state VAT onto the petroleum oil actually is not subsumed. Fine. Okay, so there are certain taxes which are still not subsumed. Now when we talk about the GST, this particular article is just focusing on one dimension of the GST. It says that before the GST got implemented, inflation was at this particular price, 3.6%, but after the GST, inflation increased to this particular number. Okay, and it is now being made a comparison that around the world, the countries wherever the GST came, the inflation came. The same thing happened into the Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Now guys, it is being said that it was expected that once the GST will come down, the prices will go down. Why? Because the cascading effect will be eliminated. Now first of all, what is this cascading effect? So guys, see, suppose there was a product whose cost price was 100 rupees. Now earlier there were the multiple taxes that was imposed. Let's say when this particular product has been manufactured, there is an excise duty, okay, which is being imposed. 10% of excise duty will be imposed on that. What will be the pricing will now become 110 rupees. Let's say that now again what particular sales tax will be imposed on this. Let's say that one more tax, sales tax, is being imposed on this particular pricing. Okay, I'm just taking a hypothetical example just to make you understand. Let's say it is also 10%. It is also 10%. So what will be the now the tax that will be imposed? 11 rupees tax will be imposed and the price will become 121 rupees. Now see, now basically when you are imposing this 10% of tax, this 10% of tax is not only being imposed onto the cost price of 100 rupees, but on the 10 rupees also. Fine, which were an outcome because of the earlier tax that was imposed. Are you getting it or not? So what has happened, as the successive taxes are imposed, at the end of the day the goods become even more expensive. Why? Because the tax on the tax is also being imposed. So there is a cascading effect that comes. If guys see, 1 rupee is the outcome because the tax even on this 10%, 10 rupees was imposed. So the cascading effect was there because when multiple taxes were being imposed, GST will be a single tax that will be there. This cascading effect will go down, the prices will go down. It was being said, but still the inflation came. Now, guys, it article explains that you don't need to see GST in a negative way. The basically the inflation that has come, it is because first of all, some of the goods the tax rate actually got increased, and many of the business activities that were not earlier into the GST, earlier not into the taxation, they got included. So by the inclusion of certain industries, this GST is bringing inflation. Earlier, if the business was not taxed, no problem, but now if the business is taxed, it is passing that cost to the customer. So this is something that has happened. Then, guys, this particular article talks about, see, basically, this article says that the textbook microeconomics teaches us this particular thing, that when first of all into the economy, the competition will increase. When the competition will increase, market will become more competitive. Into this particular competition, there will be certain firms which will assume the market power. Now, what is the market power? Certain firms will go beyond the competition because of their good service and because of that particular thing. When basically market power will increase, fine, what will happen? The prices will increase, the profit for that particular firm will come. Okay. Now, this article gives the reference of the Nobel Prize winner Joseph Stiglitz. Now, Joseph Stiglitz provide that this increasing market power is actually bad for the economy. Okay. Why? Because when a firm's or any company's market power will increase, it will try to dominate the economy. Okay, so this is just a reference that has been given. Okay, now, guys, this particular thing provides this issue that, see, basically, even when the GST is being implemented, there are certain bad practices that have been taken by the companies. Okay, they are rising the prices deliberately. They are trying to profit out of the GST also. So for that particular thing, National Anti-Profiteering Authority (NAA) has also been introduced, so that the GST is not as an excuse to raise the prices. Moreover, the Competition Commission of India is also there, which is saying that the anti-competitive behavior is not there. So GST is a kind of a new thing that has come. It should be given some time, and it should not just be seen as entirely negative or as entirely undesirable. Fine. So this is, guys, something which has been provided, a generalistic article. I'll not say that much of a specific things are there. It is a generalistic article. Just you need to see it just to refreshen up your concepts. Then the next is India EU Global Dynamics. Now this article again taken from the Hindu newspaper, and this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, multilateral world order and issues. Multilateral world order and issues. Okay. India EU issues. Fine. Now, first of all, this particular article, guys, is talking about that the European Union is right now basically trying to lead the world on the multiple number of fronts. Now here we see that first of all, when we talk about the presently around the world, the carbon neutrality, net zero, it is becoming a very popular kind of a thing. What is this carbon neutrality? That around 2050, for India's case it is 2070, the countries, they will become carbon neutral. Whatever the carbon they are emitting and whatever the carbon they are absorbing, there will be net balance in that. Extra carbon will not be emitted. That is the carbon neutrality. Now European Union actually is aiming to become the first carbon neutral region in this entire world. Fine. And for this particular thing, European Union has also brought the European Green Deal. European Union Green Deal, under which much enhanced emission cuts, etc., are being taken by the countries. Okay, so the idea right now here is that the European Union should be transformed into a society which is fair, wealthy, modern, resource efficient, and competitive. Okay, and for that, renewable energy is a plank that they are using. Now, guys, recently the European Union came out with an initiative, that is the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So what is this CABM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, CBAM? It is a new way in which the tax in which the goods that will be coming into the European Union, they will be taxed. So how the goods will be taxed? So, guys, see, the goods will be taxed, imported goods will be taxed based on to the difference between carbon used in the production of the domestic and the imported goods. Now let's take one example. Suppose European Union is importing the iron. European Union is importing the iron. Now guys, obviously for manufacturing this particular iron, there will be certain carbon emissions that will be done. Carbon emissions it will be done. Now let's say there is one particular country in that is India. Now India, just to make 1 ton of iron, is, let's say, emitting 100 unit of carbon. 100 unit of carbon. In European Union, guys, the same 1 ton of carbon, 1 ton of iron, same 1 ton of iron, let's say, is manufactured by using the 50 units of carbon. Okay, now let's say that somebody is in the European Union is importing this Indian iron. It is importing this Indian iron. Now basically you see that Indian iron, its unit of carbon that it emitted was 100. In European Union, when the iron is being made, it emits a 50 units. So 50 unit more carbon was emitted by the Indian iron. So on this particular difference, the taxes will be imposed. It means that if a particular product is being imported from a country where they have produced it by using more of a carbon, emissions were there, pollution was created, will taxing it more. So this is something which has been there. They say that initially the 5 site products will be taxed. What are the site? Carbon intensive and trade export. Carbon intensive and trade exposed. In that they say that originally this CBAM will be imposed on the iron and steel, aluminium, cement, fertilizer, and electricity. So here it will be taxed. Then guys, the next thing that is coming here is that the developing countries, they have a problem with this. They had raised a concern against the legality of the CBAM. It has been said that this is a new excuse by which the products from the developing country will be discriminated. It has been said that always they bring the issue of environment, clean energies and all these things. Now the developing countries, their capacities are limited. They cannot invest too much into the clean energies and all these kind of things. Why? Because the poverty is still a very big concern. So it is being said that this CBAM will be used against the developing countries. Their goods will be discriminated, their goods will be discouraged, high tax will be imposed on their particular goods, and this will go against the mandate of the World Trade Organization. WTO talks about the free and open trade. Now you are restricting the trade by imposing certain higher number of taxes. Moreover guys, under the UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, basically the CBDR, that is the common but differentiated responsibility, is a rule. Under the common but differentiated responsibility, it has been said that the developing countries, their responsibility will be different than the developed countries. So it is being said that when you are taxing a goods at a higher price which have used more of a carbon, fine, you are not taking in consideration this CBDR, common but differentiated responsibility. We can do this particular thing because we are a developing country. So this is something that has been there. Moreover, the developing countries, they have problem with one more thing. They say that the revenue that will be collected from this CBAM, where this particular revenue will go, this particular revenue will support the European Union budget. It will give support to the next generation EU budget. Now what is this next generation EU budget? The money will be going to help the countries which got impacted because of this particular COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so it will be used as a support, fine, for the countries themselves. Now the developing country says that if you are raising the money, fine, by this particular tax, and you say that this particular tax wants to encourage the clean technologies, use this particular money also for the cleaner technology. Why you are using this money for supporting the economic well-being of the countries? Fine, this is something that is being provided. Now basically India guys has always been at a forefront of the developing countries. Okay, now if this dispute is coming with the EU, it is indirectly that also the dispute that will be represented by India. Now today when we see the India EU's relation, the relations are healthy trade relation is there. So in a meaningful way, again this particular issue should be resolved. Today European Union is India's third largest trading partner, and India is European Union's 11th largest trading partner. Fine, around that basically trade between the two, that is the European Union and India, is around 63.8 or around $64 billion. Moreover, recently the India EU free trade agreement has also been again again started. Okay, this is a free trade agreement that we are trying to sign from such a long time. Fine, it got it came to a standstill. Now again it is being restarted. So these issues need to be settled in a harmonious manner. So this is guys all the relevant articles that are there in the today's newspaper. Guys, I hope that you have understood this issue as well as all other issues. So that is all for today, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So that is all, guys. Please take care of yourselves, and please do join the Telegram to download this explainer PDF that I have used here, and make a habit that before you start the video, download it and keep it handy and refer it. So that is all for today. Thank you so much.